here's the deal: is like how is his dad treating him? Because he's doing exactly what he learned from his father. So either he's going to break that cycle, and because he hates it so much, or he's going to repeat it. And honestly, he probably doesn't even know he's repeating it because all he knows. And I think and she was just like, holy crap. I was like, yeah, why did you treat your daughter the way that you treated her? Because your dad was such a tyrant that you wanted nothing to do to be like him whatsoever. And that's why you are the way you are with everybody else. And she was just like sat there.
Happy day.
Happy day.
Happy day.
Oh,
I don't know if I don't know how or why. I slept. Fuck. I think I passed out yesterday, like at 5 p.m.
Nice. It was
Dude,
necessary.
I am, and it was one of those things where, like, my wife would talk to me, and I'm looking at her, going, "I'll be right there."
That's freaking
I
awesome.
was. It was in the living room. I was exhausted. I think it was the food, though. I think it was the food.
The food will
Uh,
do it. What you have?
because I eat once a day, you know, and then if that, if I'm working, and if I'm sweating, I'll eat once a day. If I can, I'll ask myself at the end of the of like, when I'm ready to eat, can I wait a little bit more, or should I eat now? You know what I mean? I'll ask myself, and then if I'm cool, I'll skip a day. I'll
Oh
skip a
wow.
day. Yeah, I can skip a day easily. So I can do 36 hours. 48 I've done easily. So I don't know. Yeah, when you get to 72 though, that's tough. And that's like the
Yeah.
key. That's like the key point right there. That's what I've heard. I don't know. I've seen it in me. It'll maintain me. My blood, my blood records and all that shit, and it shows it. As a matter of fact, you mentioned it yesterday. How I just look like a different person when I was on the Bradley podcast.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, when I was on Dropping Bombs. And yeah, dude, I started my whole fucking journey right after that. And uh the weight just dropped when I learned how to fast.
Mm.
And because I was working out all the time, right now I'm on a pause. I'm due to pick up the weights again. I'm due. But that's okay. But I maintain the weight. I maintain the weight. So I guess I'll figure
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah. Yeah. No. We can definitely walk through it and both get it done when you come back from your trip. As I know, on Friday of last week, I couldn't even lift my right arm up at all. And then I
Wow.
had forcefully, and I didn't do anything. Like I know what I did, but it wasn't like I had done something improper working out. It was just an awkward angle. And I use half-inch uh grade 70 chains on my low boy, and so they're freaking heavy. And I had picked up one of them and I threw it underneath the machine, and apparently the angle that I did it, my body was just like, you asshole, here, I'm gonna punish you. And
Oh, wow.
and so like I literally, when I went into work on Saturday, like I was using one arm to climb it down on the machines and stuff like that. And then
Oh
after
no.
after it warmed up, like it allowed it to move.
Hmm.
But like my wife's been doing therapy on me all weekend, and now I can. It still hurts, but it's not to where it's not functional. So at least I'll be able to use both hands a day. But that's just one of the things, I guess. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'm a savage. I can do anything. We go throw this chain. And I'm like, and I'm like limping around like a punk. It's body just like, say here, check this dude. And stop doing stuff. So for real, man, it's just
You
nuts.
know what's funny is because so I went paintballing 2 days ago, right? Yes.
Yeah.
And my hip the next day, yesterday, was killing me, and it started to kill me, and then I limped around all yesterday because of my bum fucking hip, and I'm thinking to myself, I have never been in some type of fucking car accident, war. I've never, you know what I mean? I'm like I've never seen any front line shit. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like there's no reason. I've never carried a dead body on my fucking, thousands of yards. And dude, there's no reason for my hip to be blown. There's no reason. And
All
it
right.
fucking it, and I think it was exactly that. It was some type of an angle movement that I did. I twisted myself just right. That it reminds me of like yes,
Mhm. Yep.
yes, okay. And you make that little yes, I know exactly.
Yeah, it's what happens. It's not the stuff that I do on a regular basis that gets me. It'll be some like off movement. It'll be like a step because the guy doing the mitts with me like made me twist a different way to
Oh,
hit a different angle on a punch, and then it's like, oh yeah,
that's
no.
not. Oh,
Like that's gonna be your groin. You're gonna look around a little bit for like the next day, and then it'll correct itself. But it's always what it is. That's just the price of trying to stay active and get older and age gracefully and still be effective. It's the price that must be paid, I guess. So
that's it. And it does scare me, and it is. We do have to make our bodies physical resistant again because as I look at the older 25, 30 years, those my elder, I see a lot of them are how soft they are and what they suffer with and yeah, dude, you're right. If we don't protect ourselves now, we're gonna be worse than they are. You
yeah.
know, we're gonna be worse than they are in worse conditions. So you're right. Yeah, that the physical activity, the muscle. I mean, they showed a I think I don't know if it was a meme, a commercial. I don't know. I was flipping through something one time, and there was they showed a muscle, an MRI of a muscle, like right. So let's just say like the leg,
Mm-hmm.
right? Right, and then they showed it was like almost the same size, right? They taped around it, right? They measured around it of two different people. One of them was an active fucking uh it was like a 75, 78 year old person, active,
Okay.
right? And then they had another one of just a fat person, period, right? So the leg or that section was actually the same diameter across around, right? But the muscle inside the fat guy was this big,
Mm.
while the muscle on the other guy was this. So who's gonna be able to support himself better,
Right.
right? You would, it's you you would think, oh, that guy looks big, he's not. He's just a fat fuck, you know.
Yeah,
Listen, I
no,
can.
I get
I
it.
mean, and my dad used to be a really big dude. My dad used to be a big dude, and I'm going to talk about that. I don't give a shit. Um, that was one of my biggest things, and I think you
Mm.
can say it that way. That was one of my biggest things. Was like, I was that little boy, uh, getting told to sit down and shut up, and when you went into one of those all you could eat fucking buffets, and then you would be embarrassed to watch your dad eat. That was me. And so that's why I say the things I say sometimes.
Yeah. No, I never really like my father was never big. Like he has a had a beer gut his whole life because he drank a lot of beer. But like what was it, probably what 4 or 5 years ago, he tested pre-diabetic and
Oh,
ended up like turning back the clock and got off all the medication, started eating right and all that other stuff. So like when people tell me that it's like, oh, well, it's genetic things, all right, cool. I guess it is sometimes, but I feel like there's a lot of control there. Yeah, like even my grandfather, like he's the opposite side of the of that coin, where he was a diabetic. Like my entire life, like he lost his sight right before I was born
yeah.
due to and that's probably why I don't.
Diabetes.
No, he lost his sight to a allergic reaction to a medication when he
Oh
was,
shit.
yeah, when he had a surgery and he had an allergic reaction and ended up losing his eyesight. And so, like, he was actually in the Air Force, and
Oh.
like, there's articles written about him back in Virginia because him and his sister were like the first to integrate. Um, and so,
Mm.
yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. He's got some really cool article stuff. But he like his whole life from the point that I met him, he struggled with diabetes and weight. And he was the man that got up every morning blind and walked on his treadmill in his home to try and maintain his health. And
Wow.
yeah, so his whole life, and like I always tell my like me and my cousin talk about it, it's like, he lived the life of Job, where he like was constantly struggling with health.
Uh-huh.
And so like I have more of an appreciation for like a healthy body and being able to move and do all that stuff because I've seen the other side of that coin. And like I don't want to live my later years struggling to move and to be healthy
Correct.
and to
Yes.
maintain my weight and all these things. So like
Yes.
stuff's really important to me. And like I never thought about it, never verbally processed why that was so important to me. But yeah, like I understand why it's such a big deal to me now because I watched somebody suffer through it. And like my grandmother's still big. Well, she's 81, I think. Yeah, no, she's 80. She turned 80 this past January, so she's gonna turn 81 this year. But
God bless her.
yeah, so she's a big lady. Hey, she's out freaking traveling the country all the time, hanging out with her friends, living her life. Because my grandfather ended up passing last year. We went and buried him in Colorado Springs at the military,
The
you know,
cemetery? Yeah.
yeah, the military cemetery out there off of Peterson.
Nice.
So, yeah, yeah.
Wow. What a story.
Oh yeah, there's a
What a
bunch of them.
story. What a story.
Yeah, got it. Oh, what are you doing? Face is leaking. Well, I mean, I haven't talked about my grandfather since he passed, so not really. But,
No, that's a beautiful story, dude. You know, as far as role models, that's the one thing I have tried to that I have my consistency with. You know, and us as parents, sometimes we forget how dumb we really are. You know what I mean? And then you realize, shit. You know, my parents, they I know they tried their best. They
uh-huh.
were just so fucking stupid. They were so ignorant to certain things, and you know, that's when you learn to forgive, learn to let go. You know what I mean? When you see what kind of struggles you're going through. I mean, dude, we're fucking almost 50 years old. You're starting off your 40s. I, I'm in my mids. You know, almost 50 years. I'm coming up on 50, and I still have this fucking 16, 17-year-old mentality. I can do anything, anything. And I catch myself thinking like a fucking idiot, dude, I'm back in fucking Saved by the Bell. Hey, what's good? I'm like, what's going on, Preppy? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, fuck, dude. Either I'm Zach or whatever, or I'm back there. I'm serious. And the other day I was just scrolling through. and I saw a picture of a person I went to elementary school with, and they went to, I think they were part of my middle class too, and then definitely we graduated high school together, right? So it's, in three different scenarios, I've seen that person through, her life, and I was like, wow, dude, you're old. I said to myself, I was like, fuck, Ness, you must really look old. You know, it's just, it's tough. It really is, because you're starting to understand a little bit more. I look at my assistant, for example. He's more than my assistant. I love my boy. I love him to death. He's 47. He's starting from the beginning again. He's starting from zero, right? He just came from this country. He's starting from zero. He sold everything. He's renting out his apartment. There's nothing left back there for him except that, an apartment that somebody else lives in it now. So he's
Mhm.
got nothing else. And he started from zero here. And I look at him and I was like, and then I also look at like my wife's parents and her family, the other side. Everybody here got around the mid 50s. So then I look at my life with my wife. When we first met, we met 27 years ago, you know? So it's like I look at their lives, compare it to the age differences and everything. And so I'm like, okay, so I am at the age of where these people really came to this country to start again. So I get to live it, helping Nelson, for example, or working with Nelson as he moves on to his transitions. Even though I already pre-warned him, I got 3 years left and I'm done. I pre-warned him. I got 3 years left and I'm done. I can be
That's
done now, but
that's
I
awesome.
I need,
But
yeah.
you were talking about that the thing where you know you seeing the mistakes that you're making as a parent is giving your parents grace and forgiveness. Me, that somebody that never had children, uh, the only reason why I was able to forgive my parents, because I needed to forgive them. Look at that. No,
We all
really.
do, but yeah, yeah,
But if I didn't talk to anybody about exactly what you're talking about, like my therapist was the one who was like, your parents were just figuring it out. Like that's all
hmm
they were doing. And just like, how was your father's childhood? And that's when it was like clicked, and I was like, oh crap.
oh,
And I had this conversation with my wife's mother yesterday when she was talking about like her, what is it, nephew, great nephew,
yeah,
um, and like his father is blah blah blah. My sister's gonna go over there, and I was like, she's not gonna do that. Like, one, that's his dad,
yeah.
and you guys are outside of that whole household. Like, you guys are spectators. It doesn't matter if you like it or not. But like, here's the deal: is like how is his dad treating him? Because he's doing exactly what he learned from his father. So either he's going to break that cycle, and because he hates it so much, or he's going to repeat it. And honestly, he probably doesn't even know he's repeating it because all he knows. And I think and she was just like, holy crap. I was like, yeah, why did you treat your daughter the way that you treated her? Because your dad was such a tyrant that you wanted nothing to do to be like him whatsoever. And that's why you are the way you are with everybody else. And she's just like sat there.
She's like,
And like,
fuck, that's right.
so like, and that's, but again, like, if we don't talk about these things, if we don't share these insights to others, like, how many people watch this? I wonder how many people are just like, click, like, holy crap.
Well, I mean, listen, there are no new problems.
Right.
There are no new problems, which means that there's a solution to fucking everything. The question is, and throughout life, I've also noticed that we every single one of us has had or will have the exact same problem in one form of another in a different period of our existence, of our
Correct.
lives. So, yeah, dude, there are things that even the most educated person in the world can learn from the most experienced person in the world.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. It's everything is theory until it becomes true for you, you know,
Right.
until you put it into practice. And that's the thing in itself right there. That's the part that when for a fact, how could I say it? Like, we are computers. It's all in our programming, you know. We talked about how our parents teach us certain things and how Dr. Joe Dispenza was the one who brought it in, said in a program that at 9 years old, you know, fucking 95% of the how that child will think, act, perform, do anything in life has already been pre-programmed, right? At fucking 9 years old, you got that means the rest of his life, he's got 5% of growth, right? So that's when you say, holy shit. And I had a conversation the other day with my daughter. It was one of the most beautiful things that's happened to me in a very long time when it comes to her, right? Because she's extremely stubborn, very central minded. She's extremely open to a lot of things, but fuck is she stubborn. You know, hey, guess what? She's just like me.
I knew it.
She's just like me. She is identical. You put a fucking wig on me, we look alike. You know. So, and that's the one thing. And I kept telling her, and finally she clicked a little bit because I told her, I was like, you understand that I'm not the same person. Oh, yeah, 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 I've noticed. And then she said a couple things, and then she goes, oh, yeah, all right. So then we started, and then she's like, yeah, I have noticed. Oh, I noticed it. So she started noticing these little things about me that before used to piss her off that don't happen now, or versa, or vice versa. Or now I bug her by another way. I'm her dad. I'm supposed to bug her, you know, and it came due because she was afraid,
Hmm.
and she made a mistake. It's no big deal. She made a small mistake with her college shit, blah blah blah. Of which her mother and I both were like, "Listen, we're here to help you. I'm supposed to show you what I got this. I got this." I'm like, "All right, cool. You got this. Boom." And then come to find out, she didn't have dick. She fuckered it all up, and she thought that literally in her mind, it hurts to say it, but my daughter had this image of me finding out and rushing into her room and and I said to her, I was like, baby, when have I ever, because I've seen that done. When have I ever done that to you? She goes, never. So why the fuck would you think I was capable of doing it? Oh, she goes, oh, I knew you would never do it. Then why did you think it?
Yeah.
Because once that image pops, I said, you know what? I'm sorry. And that's when the first, leakage started.
Mhm.
Because that's when the first one I said to her, I was like, I've never done that. But just the fact of you thinking it tells me that you were prepared and you thought that I was capable of doing it, which means I am so sorry because, and then we had an adult conversation. She clicked. She realized, holy shit, it's all in my mind. I can turn, different things. And yeah, dude, our kids see us in a certain way, and then when you can start telling them and showing them exactly that, number one, we're not perfect beings. Number two, we've had our own fucking issues, you know, and we're just trying to figure it out every single day. I told her, I was like, listen, I said, you understand, I'm still trying to figure it out every day. You may think that we got this shit under control because we hide things very, very, very well. But it's not your job to worry about if the lights are going to stay on tomorrow. It's not
Right.
your job to worry. And we talked about all that stuff. I said, that's my job. That's my job. And yes, mamita, sometimes it's extremely stressful, you know, and we don't know how to interact with each other because we don't know how to interact with us. So that's what I started telling her about. I said, listen, either A, I told her, I had this conversation with my daughter. I said, either A, I'm going to wake you up, you know, assistedly, or I'm going to wake you up with you, you know, naturally, you know, with you and I talking on a daily basis, because there's only two ways to wake up, you know, either
Mm.
something really drastic happens to you, or um one day just life will slap the fuck out of you.
Yeah, no
So,
kidding.
oh my God. But yeah, that she realized it right there, you know, um, that yeah, we have no fucking clue. And I've had these conversations, and here's the other thing also. I mean, because of your own personal growth, it is extremely important also. And I've done this myself, and I you will also push away, I guess you could say it that way. You know how opposites attract, and then or like, you know, whatever. Well, when you shift your frequency, when you shift everything else, sometimes even with the closest family, you will separate from them.
Hmm.
And it's not that you're not part of it. It's not that you're taking care of whatever it is from farther away, and you won't allow them, because until, and then you talk. Like it happened with me. I've had these conversations with certain family members of mine, about my, you know, enlightenment and my way of seeing things now. And I notice certain things, and I'm expecting like a dummy. Why? Because I'm fucking human, I guess. Hey, I'm telling you, dude. Some people you can tell them straight to their fucking face, and they don't understand. It's not it's not processing, and then that's when I go, they're not ready.
Yeah.
Fuck. I love you. That's just so, and then I'll step away. You know, I'll leave them be, and then they get pissed off, like, oh, he just abandoned us. No, asshole. I'm watching from afar away. One day you'll wake up and I'll be here waiting for you, but I can't take care of you. I can't feed you. I can't hold you by the hand. And I'm not going to come running every time you go, wow.
Well, that's what they want. You just said no.
Oh,
He abandoned me. Like, yeah, no, I just didn't hold your hand.
oh,
Some of those things you got to take your lumps. You got to learn, because this species, like, it doesn't seem like we learn the easy way. We try to push the envelope all the time. Like, oh yeah, how far can I get away with this? Like, we don't change until life comes and kicks us in the balls, and
yeah, but
sometimes it doesn't even do it the first time.
here's the problem, though. We have a tendency to fucking wake up and go back to sleep. We wake up and go back to sleep. But
Yeah, no kidding.
but here's, I mean, and it's just, oh, I didn't realize it. Like you did. Yes, you
Yeah.
did. When you really get down and dirty, when you really get down and dirty, and I listen, I used to be, I cannot believe my old self. My old self was not a good person,
No,
you know,
I
and
can relate.
and and I know for a fact that I hurt a lot of people, but it was, it is, so necessary for every single person to realize exactly. And because once you do it, there's no turning back.
Mm.
Once you really, really, really wake up, there's no turning back because now you absolutely know without a shadow of a fucking doubt. There's no other way. There's no other way. There's no more unconscious decisions being made in your life, which means that you understand 100% that if you leave a footprint, it was intentional. Nothing was by accident. Everything is intentional. So you have to make sure and realize and you pay attention, what kind of footprint am I leaving?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to pick and choose because nothing can be perfect either. But you have to pick and choose what, like, okay, so if I know for a fact that in the bottom of my heart, that I'm doing the things that are if I'm consciously making a decision that I know could affect my outcomes for what I think it's something better for myself, I have to understand and know that the outcomes could affect negatively something else. It's just for whatever it is. In order to have growth, I have to have destruction. In order, so a lot of these little things, a lot of those, you have to be able to know that it's 100% your fault. I'm trying to just say there's nobody else. There's nobody fucking else. There's nobody else. And we tend to always point fingers. And when you realize that you can't point the finger at yourself because, excuse me, you can't not point the finger, but yourself, but yourself.
Yeah. Well, there was something
Because,
I heard a long time ago. It's like if you're pointing at somebody else, there's still three fingers pointing back at you. And that's like literally you take your hand out, point that index finger out, and it's
yeah,
still it's all you know. And it's crazy because I heard that I think back in 2017 was, and then I posted it on my wall on social media because that's what I did. It's like, oh, this is mind changing. Like everything is my fault. Like, oh, I feel it, and I get a text message immediately. She's like, I never said that, and it's like my wife immediately picked that up and like as an attack on her, and I was just like, no, no, like. I'm
I didn't mean
serious.
it
Like it's
like
all my
that.
fault.
I
Like
didn't
it's all
mean it
my
like that.
fault. And I was just like, oh my gosh, and like it all makes sense right now. And then that's like the growth made it so much. It kicked in so much heavier.
And you can't change anybody's mind either, though.
But,
That's another thing that we need to focus on. Doesn't matter if they woke up with you, next to you, if they're still sleeping, their mind is already made.
mm-hmm.
And the only thing you can do is emphasize whatever things with intentions and actions, you know, through time. I guess the compound interest of time would be able to increase those things, but you can't change people's minds. It's if they think that you're golden, then you're golden. If they think you're an
Mm-hmm.
asshole, guess what? You're a
You're an asshole.
yeah, yeah. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. Um, always strive to do your best. When you realize that and you notice and you say it and you realize like, holy fuck, man. But here's the one thing that most people I tell me, how do you feel about this? So because now we both understand that it is 100% your fault and it is always 100% your decisions, your reactions, and the way things are going, then why is it that there's some, I saw a meme that I didn't really truly fully agree with, but when you have to do something that that you don't want to do, let's just say I'm gonna use regular, just middle America. Ready? Oh my God, it's Monday. I have to get up and go to work. All right, fuck. All right. So I go to work. Good morning. I'm going to work. And I realized that today at work, I don't really, I had nothing to do today. Just go through the motions, right? So do I have to give 100% of myself?
Absolutely.
Right? Absolutely. I'm supposed to give 100% of myself. They're talking about, it's okay if you only have 40% to give, that'll be your 100. When I
Yeah.
heard that, I went berserk and I said, "What are you doing?" And this came from some fucking doctor, some psychologist, and and I was like, "No,
Mhm.
no, no." Well, it's they only have 100% to give today, so let's make sure that they give 40% at work and 20% at. No,
Yeah.
what are you doing? No. Here's the thing, because now you're limiting them, right? You're limiting them. You're telling them, hey, it's okay. Don't worry. But when I need you, I expect you to be here. Do that with some frontline motherfucker, right? Tell him,
Yeah.
tell the guy on the front lines, holding the M16, fucking sweating, hasn't slept in fucking 4 days, and he's tapping with his partner. Right? Hey, you awake? Yeah, I'm awake. Tell that to that motherfucker. Give me only 40% because you're not feeling well right now, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Stupid motherfuckers.
And get his brother killed.
Oh, don't.
If
That's
we if
fucking
we
stupid.
if they taught everything, if they treated everything like it's life or death, they would act differently. Um, because even like when they asked me to go on Saturday, and my wife was like, "Well, why didn't you say no?" And I was like, "Well, it's just kind of my job." She's like, "Well, what if we'd have been out of town, but we're not?" Well, you've been tired for the whole week. I was like, "Yeah, okay." And she's like, "What about your shoulder?" And like finally, I just started staring at her, and then she just stopped, and was like, "Yeah, no, um, yeah, this is like I don't call in sick, like, and that's how I look at the majority of the things in my life." And it was like, we would do things for others that we wouldn't do for ourselves. So the things that you need to do for yourself, you need to step up and do them as well. And things like that help you keep a track record of excellence, integrity, resilience. All these things are all tied together. And so, I woke up at what 1:30, and I was like, "Dang it, man! Like I don't have to be up for another hour." Yeah, all right, whatever. So I drag my butt out here and get dressed. Freaking out the door. Let's go. Uh, didn't sleep good. Didn't feel good. In pain. But somebody still expects me to do the things that I said I was going to do. So if I show up and give a lackluster performance when I go out there to move said machinery, that literally I could kill somebody if I give 40% of my attention and my energy and don't chain things down properly. Like that's a big problem. Like whether it's you're working retail, somebody's got to do that job. If that's where you chose to be at for this period of your life, do it with excellence. Period. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
half-ass it. Like you shouldn't half-ass anything because not only does it give you the habit of being mediocre, but now you just told your brain and your body and all the little things that matter that help you repeat things that it's okay to half-ass it, and it's not because that'll show up in the worst possible time. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. How many times have we heard that one?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Jeez Christ, help us! Like it's nuts. It's nuts. And then we are like, oh, I don't know what's happening in society. You guys have sowed seeds of mediocrity over the past generations, and now you're like, oh, it's all blooming into trash. Like it's not by accident. It's like, oh, well, I don't know what happened. Well, go ahead, look at history, see what happened. You'll be able to tell quite clearly what happened over the years.
I gotta look into it. I don't remember, but there was a guy who was talking about the 80-year cycle. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense when I was listening to it. I listened to it once, and I always said I gotta go back and I gotta refine it. That just made sense to me what you were just saying, because they were talking about that 80-year cycle, and isn't that the same thing that that's pretty much what they say? You know, strong men create good times create uh,
Weak
weak
men
men, weak men
will
create
create
bad
hard times.
times.
Yep.
So it's just a cycle. Right now, I have noticed that there are a selected few. I have been like like I keep saying that I'm the luckiest man in the world, but it's like I don't know how I was able to program my son to be awake and to realize the game of money. Like
Hmm.
he is really good at it, really good, really
He's
good.
getting after it too.
He's understanding, and like we had a conversation the other day, and his frame of mind is so spot on. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I did that. That was like a little proud moment there internally, you know, where I don't have to worry. He understands, dude. If he knows one thing, one responsibility, are you ready for this one? He knows that he is 100% responsible. Listen to it. He knows that he is 100% responsible for my minimum 10 grand a month. That's it.
Hmm.
That's all I need. I said, I said, Seb, I want 10%. I'll build it, but it's got to be a minimum of $10,000 a month. I said,
Hmm.
my ideal, I said, just from this business alone, you know, he goes, all right. So that's it. Got to be at least 10 grand. He goes, that's no big deal. Said, okay. So he knows he's got his responsibilities, but I can't stick around and I can't wait just for him though. I can't say,
Right.
hey, guess what? So that's the other difference, right? So I know I gotta be proactive. I know that there's a chance that he's not gonna get it done. He may stumble, he may do this, and that's okay. Why? Because he's gonna go through it. But me, I need to focus on, okay, so what are my numbers? Blah, blah, blah. How much do I need? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. So I still got to step up my game and be prepared and still have my own deadline, not really say, and then why? Because that way at the end, when he misses, I can't say, oh, I can't go on this trip that I had because my son fucked up my retirement.
Hmm.
No. Whose retirement is it? Mine. Whose responsibility is it to be ready? Mine. Well, I told him a while ago. You said, yeah, but what did you do? Did you do anything for? Well, yeah. No, you didn't. So it's all on me. It's all on me. So
Always
yes,
has been, always will be.
that's all it is. It's correct.
Never
And when we
changes.
learn to take personal responsibility for our actions, you know, most of the time people don't really understand. I didn't. I didn't. Dude, I was that I was the type of guy to be like, what's in it for me?
Mm.
But then again, that's everybody too, though. You know, if it didn't make sense, if it's something that I wouldn't even listen or just no. You know, I didn't care about other people's feelings. I only cared if I could do it or not, if I wanted to. What's in it for me? Um, yeah, I didn't care about anything. It wasn't cool. Hmm.
Mm. Well, something to chew on there.
Yeah, that one was that's a different topic for another stuff. Personal responsibility. That one right there is probably the hardest one to chew on but it's the most revealing. It's the most, when you can honestly say,
You know, when I had a victim mentality, my life was
oh,
in shambles.
victim mentality. Yes. When you're proactive at something too, when you take ownership of your life and you come out and you face your demons, your biggest fears, whatever they may be. So, for example, me, I'll tell you that hurting that woman, realizing what I've done to her, and then because when I hurt her, I really wasn't thinking. It's not that I didn't love her. It's just that I loved her my own way.
Mm.
You know, I didn't really value her or show her the love, whatever it was. Yeah, I. And then when I realized I can't get that time back, you can't get it. You can't go back in time, and because, but I've learned I can shift it. I can't change my actions, but I can make them kind of fade away through a series of positive reinforcement action. That's the only thing I can do, you know? Um, so just so far that the memory of whatever could have happened is just a very shade, very far away, keep it away. By filling the reservoir with fresh, clean water. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what it is. You know, I'm filling that little void with fresh, clean, taking responsibility on that alone, knowing that my life was in shambles and it was my own fucking fault was probably the most revealing, and it made me face every single demon. It's like, okay, so if in order for me to correct this, I need to break myself. So how much further could I go?
Mm.
So I took it even further. And I don't want to say that I went to confession. You know, I don't want to say it like that. This is not a religious fucking thing. This is actually just, you know, me being as truthful and with my wife as possible. And I told her my deepest and darkest,
Mm.
something that nobody tends to do anyway. But when I did, I gave her time to process it. And then I said that the only thing we can do from now is just rebuild.
Mm.
And that's it. So when I told her my deepest and darkest, and I said, listen, if you're still here by the time I wake up, it means I got a shot. And that's what I do. Never again. Never again. Never again. This is my only time. And that's pretty much why I say and do the things that I do now, because I am 100% aware of my actions. I am 100% aware of also that the way that I say things and speak them always comes through, and it comes in a circle. We already talked about how you have to be careful and whispering to the winds, what you whisper to the winds, because it will come right back. I mean, we already know this. So why not use that to the most powerful that you can do? It will happen. And the more you are prepared, the more you will see and be able to enjoy these new gifts of life. I guess you could say it that way, because it's
Mm.
exactly that. Listen, it's been 2 years. It's been over 2 years now, but it's been over 2 years of which I consider myself retired. I literally work on certain days, and I can go away with getting away with just working 2 days a week. Now,
Mhm.
yes, you guys have seen me fucking working every fucking day or whatever. You know, I'm in hotels and I'm on this and I'm on that, but I am taking 2 weeks off right now. I'm not making a fucking dime. That's the only reason. And if you guys listen to what I just said before in my things, is like I took on this quick job so I could make this money so I can go do this, you know, and not have to affect my bottom line, my regular
Right.
bottom line. No, and that was the only thing, you know. So yeah, dude, I tend to really focus on my words now. I focus on me, on my actions. I focus on, because I know 100% that if that woman is pissed off, it's 100% my fault. If that woman is happy, it's 100% my fault. Even though only she can piss off herself, or she can,
Right.
even though that's a different conversation, because I've had that one with her too. She goes, but you thought, I say, stop. You're pissed off because you want to be pissed off. That's it. Forget about it. I said, you are in that part of the moon right now because you want to be there. If I'm not there with you, if you want to stay, that's cool. I love you. I'll see you later. That's cool. That's okay. But it's being able to understand and shut the fuck up, and like you and I understand it now, and then we just close our eyes and we start playing the chess moves, and I was like, okay, I can't say it that way. I can say it this way, whatever it is. But that's what I was getting at, is it is always 100% your fault. Because that's the only thing you can control is you. We can't control their hearts, their feelings, our kids, nobody else. We can only control ourselves. So, yes, always give 100%. Even if you only got 40, guess what, motherfucker? Keep pushing.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I think we ended at that today.
I'm cool with that.